She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another day, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace. She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another day, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace.
Hello, litigators and opinionators. Court is now in session. Guys, we have to get into a lot of stuff tonight, and it's going to be really sad. So if you're not strong enough to hear sad content, then this is not the live for you. But we're going to get straight into it. So we've been talking about KADA Scott. She's a 23-year-old girl in Philadelphia. And unfortunately, this tragedy went from her missing mysteriously to now they found her body in a abandoned school. And now there has been updates as to the cause of her death, and new murder charges have been filed against the perpetrator, Keon. But this case is even more complicated than it appears. Actually, there were multiple people involved in her murder. There were video footage of Keon with another individual who helped take her body out of one of the vehicles, because there's two different vehicles that are involved in this, a black and then a gold car. The black car was stolen from another individual, a door dasher who had left his car running, basically. And while he left his car running, Keon went and stole his car the night before. So it turns out that Keon had planned to murder KADA a day before this happened. And he planned this by stealing a car from a door dasher who had left his car. He abandoned his car, left it running. He got into the car, stole the car, and he was going to use this car to then go pick up KADA. There was also information that has been disclosed that there were text message exchanges between Keon and KADA at around 10 a.m. in the morning time frame on October 4th, whereby there was a disturbing text message that the news report will let you know about, which made no sense to me, and we'll get into it. But the text message essentially was KADA telling Keon to kidnap her again. And then he said, "You better be up." And then she said, "Call me when you arrive." So that's kind of weird and disturbing in this case for her to say, "Kidnap me again," and her to request him to kidnap her again. It doesn't really make sense, especially in the sense that she had a boyfriend. As I will be showing you guys, I did post it on my page, that she had a boyfriend that she went on a date with that same day. So the question is going to be here is, what is the motive for why he shot her to death? Because according to the coroner, she was shot to death. So let's get into this tragedy. A lot of it doesn't really make sense because of the fact that she had a boyfriend. So I don't know why she was talking to Keon as well. People thought that maybe it's because he was her supplier of marijuana, but it's not really making sense anymore because of those text exchanges when she's telling him to call her again. So we're going to get into all this. We're about to dissect this. And also I'm going to go over actual details about who KADA was, because a lot of the YouTube outlets have not really explained like who she is, she's even more incredible than just working at a nursing home. She did a lot of things. She was an entrepreneur. She had multiple businesses. She had her own fashion line. There's like so much about her that hasn't been shared that I do want to share with you guys because we need a full picture of her. But first thing first, I want to show you guys before we get into the new updates. KADA had a boyfriend, and her boyfriend did a sweet tribute to her that I posted on my YouTube channel. And let's just take a look here. You'll see he did this tribute on his social media.
Her mom, her papa too. I want to thank the doctor, the hospital, everyone previously on her roster who messed up. Now a chance with her not optional. That's my queen. I want to go to space just so I could give her a star. I know she's probably tired of running through my mind. I gotta get her a car. If you got any letters or mail for her, just send it to me. Because she lives in my heart. She brings everything to the whole table. She's not just a snack, she's the whole lady. That's not just my baby, that's the whole cradle. If your girl is all that in a bag of chips, then mine is all that in a whole potato. And so what if she's a snorer? I adore her. And when she's away or off to sleep in her bed, I reread our messages and everything that we've said, just so I can still at least speak to her in my head. I love being with her. I'm always smiling. You should see my whole face. I want to be with her to where in old age, people always ask, you got a girl? I say, I got a soulmate. She is to me, dang, I know, right? Basically. I want to thank God for making her possible.
And I wanted to show you that because you could see in that video the tribute that was from her boyfriend. Part of it, of the tribute, she also, you could see her passing a cigarette. It wasn't a cigarette though; it was like a marijuana cigarette, what they call as a blunt, to her boyfriend. So clearly she smoked. So some people were speculating that she met with Keon in order to maybe purchase some marijuana. But with the new information we have received from the news outlets, that's not what it's sounding like. So let's get into what the news is saying first before we get into more details about who KADA Scott was. First things first is about the text messages. So I'll play this video for you guys from the news reporters and we'll talk about it.
Breaking right now at 4 o'clock, the Philadelphia medical examiner has now ruled KADA Scott's death a homicide. That laid word from police this afternoon, who now say they're recommending murder charges against Keon King, the man already charged in her disappearance. All this happening just hours after new court documents reveal details about phone calls and text messages between King and Scott on the very day she went missing. It is Wednesday afternoon. I'm Brian Taft.
And I'm Sarah Bloomquist. The big story on Action News is the major development in the KADA Scott death investigation. While we now know her death has been ruled a homicide, we still don't know exactly how she died.
Action News reporter Chad Padelli live at East Mount Airy with all the developments today. Quite a busy day, Chad.
Yeah, like you said, the Philadelphia Police Department announced just a few moments ago that the medical examiner had ruled that KADA Scott's death was a homicide. It was announced on Twitter by Deputy Commissioner Frank Venor. Now, I do know how KADA Scott was murdered. We're not releasing that information, making sure that the family has been notified. But police department is recommending to the DA to file those murder charges, and just a few of the new details we're learning about the disappearance and murder of KADA Scott. Keon King's alleged criminal conspiracy began just before midnight on October 3rd, when court records say he stole a Hyundai Accent left unattended and running by a food delivery worker on the 6600 block of Sprague. Investigators say he'd used that stolen car, food delivery worker, on the midnight on October charges, and just a few of the new details we're learning about the disappearance and murder of KADA Scott. Keon King's alleged criminal conspiracy began just before midnight on October 3rd, when court records say he stole a Hyundai Accent left unattended and running by a food delivery worker on the 6600 block of Sprague.
This I'm going to break it down. So as you can see here, they said in the news doc or the court documents, they indicate that He stole a car October 3rd. This was an entire night before. He stole this Hyundai. It was a black Hyundai from a DoorDash individual who was basically, he was left his car running. He left out of the car and then he stole the car. Keon stole it. That is disturbing, guys, because that means he had already intended to unalive her. He intended to kidnap her, and he wanted to steal a car so that, you know, if this car was captured on any video surveillance, which there's a lot of video surveillance in this case that captures him and other suspects involved. But he was hoping that if he stole a car, that he wouldn't be found out. It wouldn't be tracked back to him. They'll run the license plate. It'll be tracked back to the person who owned the car. However, that person did call and report the car stolen. So officers had already been on the lookout for this stolen vehicle, which they were able to connect to Keon. So that's a very first key fact to you that you need to understand is he intended to unalive and kidnap KADA the night before. What makes this more disturbing too is why did he want to unalive this girl? That is a very key question, his motive here, because he apparently didn't know her that well. He had been asking detailed questions about KADA to another girl that he had sold marijuana to a couple of days before and wanted to know where she lived and all those things. And then all of a sudden he gets her number and then now he's intending to unalive her. There seems to be so much more involved in this for why he wanted her unalived. Let's continue on with the timeline.
Investigators say he'd used that stolen car to meet up with KADA Scott the following night. Charging documents say Scott and King made plans to meet up, with the final exchange between the two being, quote, final exchange between the following night. Charging documents.
I want to stop it right here because look, we got the charging documents right here. So I want to read it to you. So they said on Sunday, January 13th, 2025 at around 12:30 a.m. Why they have January? That's a weird date. They said at 12:30 a.m. the complainant CP was inside her home on, oh, this is a whole different police report. I wonder why they're showing a different police report here because this is not the exact police report that belongs to KADA. This is a police report of a second victim. I also need to note to you that there are several victims that he has done this to. There is a charge out, or there was a woman who complained about him trying to RAPE her. There is another woman who said that he assaulted her. This woman here on January 13th, 2025 at 12:30 a.m. He also came to her house, which we're going to read this real quick before we get into the rest, because this is not related to KADA. This is a whole different victim. This man had apparently assaulted several women and tried to strangle another woman that was his ex-girlfriend. So it was very clear that the elected district attorney in Philadelphia, he had failed KADA because he had continued to allow this man to get away with stuff. But I'm going to read this right here. It says on Sunday, January 13, 2025 at around 12:30 a.m., the complainant CP was inside her home on 1800 block of North 23rd Street when the offender Keon King, his birthday is May 6th, sorry. His birthday is May 6, 2004, climbed over her yard fence, lifted her rear windows slightly and ripped out, oh wow, all of the curtains. He ripped all of her curtains, you guys. This is for the first victim. Her name was Nicholas Lagia, something like that. That's her name. But anyways, the offender was unable to gain access, so he began pounding and kicking onto her back door, attempting to enter. The male was unable to get into and caused damage to the door before fleeing prior to police arrival. Cell phone of the male pounding and on the cell phone video of the male pounding on the back door was uploaded to evidence.com. Later that same day, the male returned to the house around 3:30 p.m. and climbed the same yard fence and was looking in the glass windows of the complainants and gripped what appeared to be a firearm in his waistband, y'all. He had a firearm. The police officers wrote this in the first report of this man assaulting another victim January 13th. They knew he had a firearm. The district attorney failed KADA because they should have took and confiscated all of his firearms, and he should have been prohibited from being able to access firearms because he was already going to shoot the first victim. The male then climbed back over the fence prior to police arrival. Video of this incident was also uploaded to evidence.com. About an hour later, the complainant and her friend's witness, Armani Wood, were exiting the property on the 23rd Street block to the store when the offender, Keon King, exiting a tan Toyota Camry, which this tan Toyota Camry was also involved in KADA Scott's killing as well, where her body was found. And we're going to get into that. And grabbed the complainant, dragging her into the front seat of his vehicle. Wow. The offender then drove off at a high rate of speed. Wow. Passenger door was still ajar, and his 2-year-old daughter in the back seat. Guys, this man, Keon King, has a 2-year-old child out here assaulting various women. This is insane, right? We didn't even know he had the 2-year-old daughter. And he had his 2-year-old daughter in the car while he's kidnapping the first victim. We haven't even gotten to KADA yet. Prior to putting the complainant into and threatened to kill her, the complainant attempted to get the male to stop driving. He then, I can't see the rest, but it says that he choked her, basically. He hit her face and choked her. The offender finally dropped, and the complainant sustained minor injuries. And there's photo identifying her ex-boyfriend. It was an ex-boyfriend. He kidnapped and assaulted her. He made several threats to kill her and the witnesses. And she didn't have the current address at the time. So this police report that the police are posting for KADA, they're reporting about the first victim. So let's keep going. This is crazy, guys. This man already had access to a car. The car that was involved in KADA's killing, and he had a gun, and he was threatening to kill the first victim. Yet the district attorney did nothing about that. But let's keep going.
And say Scott and King made plans to meet up, with the final exchange between the two being, quote, CM when you hear. 6 minutes later at 10:15 p.m.
So as you guys can hear from that part of the correspondence, that morning, 10:30 a.m., he text messaged KADA. KADA text messaged him back, and she said, kidnap me again. Then she put CM when you get here, basically call me when you arrive. He put, you better be up. That was the text message he sent back. What's disturbing about those text messages is, why did she say kidnap me again? I'm wondering what was going on with that. Were they romantically involved? Because this doesn't appear to be a marijuana cell exchange. She is talking about kidnapping her. And we know this is his MO because he kidnapped his first girlfriend back in January 2025. He kidnapped multiple other women. He has RAPE'd another woman. So the fact that she used those words tells me he's already tried to kidnap KADA before. But why would she request him to kidnap her again and then go forward? Now we're going to hear more facts from the police report saying that when she went to her job at 10 p.m. at night, one of her coworkers saw her step out of the job after she just clocked in, and she appeared to be extremely upset. And she said, why are you calling me about this? Really upset. And she said an expletive cuss word. And then they saw her voluntarily get into the black Hyundai. That's the stolen car that Keon King stole the night before. So I wonder why she got in the car. She apparently was involved with Keon, but the question is to what extent and why was she upset? What I suspect, this is speculation, I suspect the reason why she's upset is because, of course, they had a disagreement. But I think the disagreement relates to the first boyfriend, because there's indications from her parents that earlier that day she went to Top Golf with her boyfriend. And as you see in the first video that I played for you, there's video clips and that her boyfriend posted on his social media page. And you can see one of the videos is of her playing at Top Golf, and she's like hitting the golf ball that I just showed you. So that's telling me maybe that was the video from when they went on their date. She, was there. This man is known to be a stalker. And KADA said she had been being stalked. She was being harassed. Someone was messaging her from a different phone number. This was his second phone. The officers were able to connect that second phone to Keon King. So they know it was him. So I believe this man was stalking her. He knew that she had another boyfriend. He felt like she was playing him because she had another boyfriend. And so I feel that he planned this whole thing out to retaliate against her because he felt like she was playing him and he was jealous about that. That is my speculation, but let's keep going.
Investigators say the two appeared to be together near Scott's place of employment based on cell phone data. It'd be the last time Scott would be seen alive. At 10:24 p.m., KADA Scott's phone goes offline. 4 minutes later, the Hyundai Accent line. 4 minutes. At 10:24 p.m., KADA Scott's phone goes offline.
Bingo. Did you guys hear that? At 10:24 p.m. So she gets in the car takes off with Keon. He's known to have other people in the car. Remember the first time he kidnapped his girlfriend back in January? I just read the report. His 2-year-old daughter was in the car. Well, there is a second person involved in this murder conspiracy, right? I suspect somebody was in that car with Keon King when she got in the car. But guys, within 20 minutes after she got in that car, she was unalived and her phone went dead. What I suspect is they also damaged and turned off her phone so that they couldn't track her phone anymore. That's why when they went to the abandoned school, all the officers found was her credit card and her phone case. They didn't find the phone though, because I believe Keon and whoever he was with destroyed the phone so that it could no longer be tracked where she was ultimately found. Because they shot, in my opinion, this is based on the timeline, she was shot multiple times inside the vehicle, and the vehicle that was burned. The vehicle that was burned was the black Hyundai. The black Hyundai is the one that was stolen from the DoorDasher. So that's why they left the car there for several days. Then they took the car. They burnt the car because her blood would be found in the car. That's why they burned it, to get rid of her blood evidence and her DNA evidence from the car. Now it's all starting to make sense, but let's keep going.
4 minutes later, the Hyundai Accent parks at the Arboretum, and the vehicle remains there. Using cell phone tech. Accent parks at the Arboretum, and the vehicle remains there.
Another key fact. So after she's murdered, right? Then they park the car with her body in it at the Arboretum. That's a building like across the street from the school. Now you have to ask yourself, if the car's parked there for a while, how did he get to the other gold car? Clearly, the second person was driving the other car, gave him a ride to wherever he needed to go. And then they came back, carried her body, which is found on evidence. They saw video footage of him with another person carry her body. And it looked like a body, a large object, which was her body, basically, into the back of the school where they buried her. He had help, someone helping him and assisting him, which is why this is all making sense. There's that anonymous caller, remember? The anonymous caller who called and told the officers to go back and search that school and told the exact location where the body was. Well, I think that was the second person that was helping Keon King, because that person started to feel a guilty conscience. They started to, watch the news, started realizing who KADA was, because they probably didn't even know who she was at first. And then it began to feel guilty, and it started to eat away at them. And that's when they gave up the information about where her body was, because a lot of people were wondering, well, how did this woman or man or anonymous tip know exactly where the body was buried? They knew detail to detail. They told the officers exactly where to go, described the location, described, the rubbish or near the area. There had also been people in the community saying maggots were forming in that area. So you could tell there was a body there. Then a smell started to come about in that area. So it's that person who's the anonymous caller, in my opinion, is the person who was the accessory who helped Keon bury her body in the back. But let's keep going.
Using cell phone technology, investigators tracked King to this house on the 5500 block of Belmar Terrace. A search of the house turned up contractor bags, a hammer, and ammunition, among other items, according to the complaint.
Key fact, this is how they found him. So he thought by destroying KADA's phone, they wouldn't track him down or track her down, because they knew that they were going to try to track her phone to figure out where she was. So they destroyed her phone as soon as they unalived her. So, but he's not really a smart guy. He thought he was smart, right? But he wasn't. He kept his own phone on. So they were able to use video surveillance and tracking to track him back to his house, where they basically detained the two. There was two women that lived in that house. They detained those two women, questioned them, released them. And I wonder if those two women were involved in this or had any knowledge of this, but they did release those two women. So maybe they were not the actual accessories of the murder.
Two women who live there were detained and interviewed but released. King was not at the house. The criminal complaint says King's cell phone was tracked taking multiple trips between the Belmar Terrace home and the area where Scott's body was found. At 11:39.
Wow, did you guys hear that? So after he murders her, he goes multiple trips back and forth to the abandoned school and back to his house. I'm wondering, what was he doing? Was he stashing evidence there, putting different, like that? Was that where he just went back to return to put the phone case and her credit card and other things, and went back to then go back and bury the body? And then who did he contact in terms of the one that helped him bury her? There's like so many questions, right, of why he's making these multiple trips back and forth to the school, which is ultimately what got him caught, because they were able to track him down making these multiple trips on video, in addition to his phone. So there's so much evidence against this guy. It's not even funny how much evidence that's stacked up against him.
9 p.m. on October 5th. Court records say King's registered Toyota Camry was caught on surveillance returning and parking at the recreation center next door to where Scott's body was found. It says two people exited the vehicle, and 4 hours later, two individuals appeared to take a large object consistent with the body out of the Hyundai Accent.
Wow, guys. This gives us a lot, and it helps us put the pieces together. So let's back up a little bit. Remember the black Hyundai, the car that was stolen by the DoorDasher? That's the car that he parked. Remember, he parked it and left it there for several hours across the street from the school? KADA's body was in the car, bleeding out. He left. Somebody helped him get away. Somebody, I don't know if somebody came back, picked him up. They didn't talk about that empty piece, but missing piece of the puzzle. But he and him somehow was able to get back to his house without using the Hyundai, because the Hyundai's parked there. Then he, along with the other person, the second person, drives together in the gold Toyota. That is his car that he owns. This is the car where he's seen in many pictures on social media. And I showed those pictures in my part 1 of this coverage of this story. So you have to watch that one. But basically shown that he took pictures in his car. So he was registered. He took his registered car with the other person. They drove back to the black Hyundai. And for some reason, they were there for hours, guys. They drove back there, right? Then they drive directly to where the Hyundai has been sitting there with the body in there. The person who helped him they both help take the body out of the Hyundai. And then they proceed to go behind the school to bury her. Isn't this crazy, y'all? It's crazy, right? Oh my God. Like, if a cop just would have came by and saw that car, they would have saw her body in there. It's just crazy how no officers went there to check, and which is why it's so important to tear down abandoned buildings, because stuff like this happens and they're able to cover up bodies. And if you guys don't know this, a second body was found near KADA's body. So there was 2 different human remains found behind that school, which is even more disturbing, because the question is, did Keon King kill the other person that was found over there? That information was only disclosed one time with the news reports, but it hasn't been repeated any other time. So I'm wondering why they haven't disclosed that. Maybe because that human remains was not related to this case. But I also find that to be very disturbing, that there were 2 different human remains found at this abandoned school.
And so far, King is charged with kidnapping, theft, arson, and other related charges, but so far not murder. But those charges are expected, I'm told. No other accomplices at this point have been charged. Police continue to investigate, though. I did reach out to King's attorney, and so far have not heard back. I'm live in East Mount Airy. Chad Perdelli, Channel 6 Action News.
And I must point out to you, remember, Keon King has a lot of money because of his drug deals. He's a drug dealer. He lives a very lavish life. I discussed that lavish life in my part 1, that, he knows a lot of celebrity rappers. He's been traveling, with this drug money he has. So he was able to utilize that money to hire a very skillful, prestigious defense attorney. So he won't be using the public defender. He's actually has a very good attorney who is going to be helping him with this case. But let's go on. There has been a multiple police updates in this case. We just talked about that case. But let's go on to the next police report police update that we have here.
First at 6, we're following breaking developments in the case of KADA Scott, the Philadelphia medical examiner just ruling her death a homicide. And we now have the court paperwork after murder charges were approved for Keon King. He's the same man charged in her kidnapping. Thanks.
So first thing you heard her say is that murder charges were approved. So after the coroner determined that she died from a homicide and for multiple gunshot wounds, this woman was shot multiple times. They at first did not disclose the manner of death because they wanted to tell the family members first. But now that they have released that information to the parents, the news came out later to say it was multiple gunshots. And I will play that video for you next. I'm just building up to show you all the different stations who reported on this, and they kind of were building up their updates as gradually. So that's what we're going to work through. So after the coroner determined the cause of death, law enforcement submitted a request to the DA's office to say, hey, can you please file a murder charge? DA, within a few minutes after that, and basically on Twitter, law enforcement announced it on Twitter that was a homicide and that they were going to submit this request to the prosecutor. Well, within a few minutes after that, prosecutor reviewed the evidence and approved it. So now Keon King has now been charged with murder, the murder of KADA. And as you can see, as we're talking about the police report, the evidence is pretty strong against him. So I don't see him wiggling his way out of this because there's lots of video evidence. There's phone evidence. There is, the two cars that are involved. There is the other person. There's missing the other suspect, but you can see there is a lot of evidence. And then there's that additional evidence of him asking the young lady, Gabby, her name's Gabby, about KADA. So he already had been looking for this woman weeks before, which is very odd because he didn't even have a personal knowledge of her until just recently, and which is the question is why he was so fixated on her. But we're going to be able to find more about why he was so fixated on her as this trial progresses, but it's just the very beginning stages. But let's keep going on to this. We already know he's now charged with murder, though.
For joining us here at 6, I'm Sheba Russell. A motive is still not known as the investigation nears a third week now. We want to get straight out to our Kelly Rule. Kelly, a lot of new information since we last checked in with you at 5.
Yes, Sheba, a lot of new details coming into the newsroom. Again, we can tell you that the district attorney's office officially announced homicide charges against 21-year-old Keon King. That is for the murder of 23-year-old KADA Scott. He's now also facing nearly a dozen other new charges. And again, he was already in custody on charges connected to KADA's disappearance. And as you mentioned, we obtained court documents that reveal new details about the case, including text messages between 23-year-old KADA Scott and 21-year-old Keon King, who again is now charged with KADA's murder. Documents say KADA and King communicated between September 28th and October 4th, which is the day she disappeared. And on October 4th at 10:07 p.m., KADA allegedly text messaged King saying, quote, "Kidnap me again," to which King replied, quote, "Better be up to."
Wow, wow, wow. This is why I want to slow it down because you can miss details really quickly if you don't pay attention. So what she said is KADA and Keon had been communicating since September 28th. Did you hear that? September 28th. So they had been developing some type of communication, right? That's quite an amount of time. Let's see how many days they talked up until her death. And it's just like, that's why this is not making sense. But remember, she had been being stalked with a different phone number. And as I talked about in part 1, Keon is known for making several fake profiles, and he stalks different women through these fake profiles. He has solicited women for sex through payment. You know what I mean? 304 behavior. This man is very sick. He's, like I said, he has multiple charges against, multiple women have been, came forward to the district attorney and talked about how he has tried to kidnap them, strangle them, RAP them, PE them. There was a prior stalking and kidnapping, strangulation, and firearm charge that was back in January from the very first victim. So the officers have been sleeping on this whole thing. But notice they started talking Saturday, September 28th. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, a whole week before she was murdered. That is crazy, right? And then all of a sudden, on the 3rd, he plans to unalive her. So the question is, what happened in a matter of 7 days to make this man plan to murder her, steal a car the day before so he's not found out or not caught, and then go kill this woman? What was it? That is going to eat away at me until I find out, like, why. What I'm suspecting is it has to do with the other man. Remember that other man if you guys were here earlier, I showed you her boyfriend. She's in a relationship, and Keon stalks people. He probably found out about that other man and felt like she was playing him. But here's the weird part. That text message that they talk about, she asked him to kidnap her again. Again. And then she left her job upset, saying, "Why are you calling me about this?" And she cussed at him because her coworker saw her outside talking to Keon on the phone. Of course, the witness didn't know it was Keon at the time, but she heard him talk. She heard KADA talking to someone on the phone and saying, "Why are you calling me about this?" And she's upset. And then she says a profanity. Then she leaves and goes into the black Hyundai. So what that tells me is Keon was upset with her. He confronted her about something, right? What I think it was is he confronted her about seeing her on that date with the first dude. That's a speculation. I don't know what the motive is. We all don't know. But I suspect that has to do something with it because Keon is a jealous dude and he stalks people. But the thing is, he had to have seen her with this man before October 4th because he planned her death on October 3rd when he stole the car. This is crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. Some fatal attraction psycho stuff.
Followed by plans to meet later that night. The last text exchange between the two at 10:09 p.m. read, "CM when you're here."
Wow. So KADA messaged him at her job at 10:04 p.m. She told him to call her when he arrived to the school. Arrived at her job. Sorry. So he knew where her job was. They had been talking for 7 days. She told him to call her when he got to her job. So she was expecting to meet him at her job. The question is why? Because in the morning she told him to kidnap her again, and then she intentionally clocked out. So the question is, what was going on between them? Was it something romantic? Because it didn't seem to do with drug exchange or marijuana sales. What do you guys think it is? Oh, Alicia, you think it's an LGBTQ? Girl, tell me that part because I didn't hear anything about that. No wonder he walked away and was able to pay his bail the first time. Yes, he paid cash, Bruna. He paid cash to get out the first time. I wouldn't even be surprised if he also helped search for her. You know what? I don't think he did. Here's why, Bruna. Because Gabby, the first person he called to ask where she was, when she called him back to say, "Hey, that girl KADA is missing," he immediately hung up on her. He didn't want anything to do with this case. He tried to act like nothing happened. He even burnt the car on October 7th after the police officers had been starting to look for her and the media had been reporting she was missing. October 7th, he went and burned that black Hyundai car to get rid of the blood evidence because her blood was all over that car because he shot her several times inside the Hyundai. The reason why he got the stolen car, let me tell you that too. He already knew he was going to shoot her, right? So he stole the car so that the blood evidence would not be in his gold Toyota Camry. He didn't want it to be in his car because he would have been caught, right? So he stole a car the day before so that when he committed this brutal murder, the evidence would be found in someone else's car. But then when it was found that car was missing and it was reported stolen, he didn't want to get caught. So he burned the car because his fingerprints was in there. Her blood evidence and DNA was all in that car. Because remember, he left her parked. He parked that car across the street for several hours while her body was dead in the car, bleeding out in the car. So there was no way to get around that. His evidence is in the car, his DNA plus her DNA and her body and the blood. He wanted to get rid of that by burning the evidence, and he successfully did that. But let's keep going.
Documents also state that night, again, the last night KADA was seen alive, a coworker of KADA's at the terrace at Chestnut Hill, where KADA was last seen, reported to police that KADA was on the phone around 10 outside the building and appeared upset, and was overheard saying, quote, "I can't believe you're calling me about this," followed by an expletive. Now, that eyewitness told police.
Did you just hear that? So the police, so the report is that she was at about 10 at night. When she already clocked in, a coworker saw her outside and appeared upset. And she was overheard saying, "I can't believe you're calling me about this." And then she says a cuss word and then she walks. So what happened to causing this reaction from her? He obviously had been confronting her about something. What I think it could be is like he was confronting her. "Why I saw you with that other man? Who's that man?" Because it's like, what else could it be? Like, she just met this guy. It seems she's only started talking to him on the 28th. So, and why is it they're so close by this time where she's already reacting this way? It doesn't make sense to me, right? It doesn't make sense. Oh, well, Alicia, girl, where is this coming from? Because, there's a lot of misinformation out there about this case. And I don't really report on the fake rumors because I used to do that. And they come to find out it's not even true. But there was a lot of obsessions with her, Alicia. And we're going to get into why, because I got a full background on who she was. Like, she had all kinds of like businesses, YouTube, fashion line. Like, this girl was that girl. You can see why people were jealous of her, but I'll get into that. I'm going to break it all the way down. Okay. But the LGBTQ rumor, Alicia, I don't really want to get into that because this may not have any, a lot of people are spreading false rumors about this. So unless I get some valid information about the LGBT part, I'm not going to get into that part because, girl, they be spreading false informations. Oh, yes. Lamusi definitely liked her. I don't think she liked him. She didn't because she had a boyfriend. And I showed that earlier. He looks like he needs a bath. He do, right? The friends that got them hooked up. Oh, yeah. Remember that? The friend Gabby. Yep. I talked about that in part 1. Yeah. Yes. I talked about that in my part 1. I have a part 1 on this. And I did talk about Gabby, the other lady who talked to him because he had asked about her. They talked for like 29 seconds and he was asking about her. And then all of a sudden she goes missing. And then Gabby calls back to say, "Hey, that girl's missing." And then he hangs up. So I did talk about that in part 1. You'll just have to watch that one. Yeah, he knew where she worked, Bruna, but he had been talking to her for 7 days before this murder. So I wonder what exactly was going on there. I think he was upset because she already had a boyfriend and he had stalked her and found out, and he was upset. So he was like, "If I can't have you, no one can." And it doesn't make sense that he would be that obsessed with a woman he just met 7 days ago, which is weird. Oh, yes. Okay, Alicia, it's not credible. Exactly, girl. That's why I kind of learned my lesson, Alicia. I've been doing these stories for a while. I'm very careful about what I report on. I also know about the aunt that claims to be the aunt of KADA, and she's supposed to be some spiritual woman, and she spreads the stuff. I did not get into her because I don't find her to be credible. So I just didn't get into her. A lot of people do think she's credible, but I've listened to multiple videos from her where she changes her story different times, and I don't think she's very credible. So I don't really want to get into her either. So you'll notice there's some parts I don't mention because I don't think it's valid. You know what I mean? But let's keep going. So again, we know that she has known him for 7 days now. And they appeared to be having some type of argument on the phone before she was murdered. And she had said a cuss word, upset, and walked to the car. So there was some type of argument going on before she was murdered.
KADA got into a dark-colored SUV parked outside that immediately drove off. Documents also revealed new details about what was captured on Albury Recreation Center cameras, which is right next to the former Ada Lewis Middle School where KADA's body was found. We know from the district attorney's office that a black Hyundai Accent was parked in the lot for days and later set on fire in a different location, and they tied that vehicle to Keon King. Set on fire in a different location. found. We know from the district attorney's office that a black Hyundai Accent was parked in the lot for days.
Wow, did you guys hear that? That black Hyundai was parked in the lot for days. And that's a key fact you have to understand, because had the officers found that car before it was burnt, they would have found her blood evidence in the car. Remember that stolen car? Well, yeah, he shot her and killed her in the car. So had the cops did their job and found that car before it was burnt, they would have found all the DNA evidence they needed to as more strong evidence against him. However, he had enough time. He let the car sit there while the blood was still in that car for days. And then he started to realize he was going to get caught. So October 7th. So from October 4th to October 7th. So that's like 5th, 6th, 7th. That's 3 days it was there. Then October 7th, he goes and burns the car. And that's how they found the car. They found that first car, and then they found the other car, the gold Toyota car that was parked as well.
And later set on fire in a different location, and they tied that vehicle to Keon King. They also said a gold Toyota Camry was in the lot at the same time the Hyundai Accent was. Documents now say 2 people can be seen on camera approaching that black Hyundai Accent on October 5th, the day after KADA disappeared, around 11:30 at night. And documents say they could be seen removing a heavy object consistent with the human body towards the general area where KADA's body was later found.
Oh my God, guys, we're getting so much details about this timeline. So basically what happened is he murders her on October 4th around 10:24 is when her phone goes dead. He parks the car across the street while her body is bleeding out. He leaves her body there for a whole day. Can you believe that? Cops didn't even come to put citations on the car or anything. The cops are terrible in Philadelphia. So that car's parked there with her body for a full day. Can you believe that? Nobody walked by to see her dead body in there. Well, during that time, he's able to communicate with another person. They drive back October 5th, the next day. He and that other person come back, pick up her body, and then proceed. And that's like around later on the night, like 11:30 at night on October 5th. That's when they proceed to take her body and bury. So she's buried on October 5th. And they did not find her body buried there until October 18th. And I suspect the person who is the anonymous caller, that's the person who called the cops to tell them the exact location where the body was, which is now all these pieces are starting to make sense. My question is, how come they don't know yet who that second person was?
That means investigators could be looking for at least 2 others that might have helped King move her body. Now,
oh, wow. So they're saying 2 other people. So they're saying 3 people total, Keon and 2 other people. So that's very interesting. There might be not 2, but 3 people involved in this conspiracy, which is absolutely sick. Because it's like, why did they want her dead so bad? That's the question you got to ask. Why did this man only known this girl for 7 days and then he murders her? Like, why did he want her dead? It doesn't make sense. Right, like Bruna says, that person is also sick. How do you get out of your house with this monster to help him dispose of a body? Exactly. And you know what, Bruna? I think he did not even know. The person who helped, if it was a he or a she, that person really didn't know who this KADA was. And they found out about who she was after the report started coming out. And I think that person started feeling guilty. It started eating away at that person's conscience. And they ended up reporting her missing. You think she knew he was a PDF file, girl? If she knew, why would she get in the car and then be calling him for 7 days or talking to him for 7 days? That's just weird, right? You know what I think? I don't think she knew. KADA's a very sweet girl. She seems to be very kind of laid back, innocent, very nice type of girl. I think she didn't know who she was dealing with because, mind you, she only known this man for 7 days. So she didn't know his background history of being a stalker and kidnapping people and all his criminal charges. She had no idea. Yes, he did make them fake profiles. Yep, I talked about that earlier. Let's keep going.
again, police have not announced any additional arrests, but have said their investigation is active and ongoing. Sheba.
All right, just no matter which way you slice it, it's just sad overall, just to hear all of those new developments.
All right, guys. So that was the second video we had, but let's get into this final video. This video is the one that will disturb you because it's going to basically reveal how she was murdered. Because again, law enforcement were trying to keep this, below the belt, not tell anyone because they had to first tell the parents. And since they have shared this information with the parents, now it's going to be revealed how she died. Let's move on to the next video.
Story on Action News tonight is the finding late today by Philadelphia's medical examiner officially ruling KADA Scott's death a homicide. And it comes as police lay out a minute-by-minute account of her interactions with the man police say will now be charged with her murder. In a 5-page affidavit filed in court today, investigators detail a series of text messages between Scott and Keon King and some 12 phone calls between the two the day she disappeared. In a time, vivid accounts, witnesses, cell phone data, and surveillance video lay out chilling evidence of stolen cars, the involvement of a cop.
Oh my God, this is why I have to stop it, guys. Did you hear what they said? He said that there were 12 different phone calls between KADA and Keon on the day she was murdered. This is putting the pieces together. Keon King was the one stalking her. That was the person. Because she told her friends that she had been stalked just recently, right? And she just met Keon King September 7th. He called her 12 different times that day. And they spoke on the phone. That's insane. That's a psychopath. That's somebody who's obsessive, who cannot control his impulses. And what was he calling her 12 different times for? It sounded like somebody who had a fatal attraction, right? This is crazy. I wish they could find out what those 12 calls were about and how long they were.
And the disposal of what police say does appear to be a human body. Action News reporter Chad Pradelli live at Eastmount area.
Bingo. This is where I feel like Philadelphia failed KADA, because they have video surveillance now showing Keon with the second person carrying a deceased body to the back. How come they did not look at this video surveillance earlier? They could have saw the exact location where the body was buried, but yet they didn't even do any of this. Like, they didn't look at the video surveillance. It had to take I think it had to take that second person who was involved in the murder, in my opinion, to find out, to tell them exactly where the body was. Like, this makes no sense to me, right? How do you have video surveillance where their video showing her body being carried by Keon and the second person, and you don't know where she was at first? That's just crazy.
All right, Chad, those new charges against Keon King were approved late this afternoon.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. According to multiple law enforcement sources, KADA Scott was shot to death. Now Keon King is charged with murder. Law enforcement sources, KADA Scott was shot to death.
Did you just hear that? He said, according to multiple police sources, KADA Scott was shot to death. That was his exact words. Shot to death. This girl suffered a very horrific death. That is so sad. Why did this sweet young girl deserve that? She didn't do anything to this man. And mind you guys, she had posted on her social media. We're going to actually go through and dissect her social media, because she has several social media. She has multiple Instagram pages, and she has a YouTube channel as she was trying to get started. But I can't find the post, but there is a post out there that she posted saying girls should be able to walk down the street safely, right? Because she would walk down the street all the time with her dog. She had been being heckled and harassed. She didn't feel safe. And she was like, we should be able to walk freely without being harassed. And now this is making sense, because it's like, you just meet this man. She just met this man 7 days ago. He starts to be obsessive with this girl. He calls her 12 times the day before she's murdered, the day she is murdered, sorry. And then he shoots her to death. That sounds like a man who's jealous, a jealous rage. which to me, I think it stems from her having that other man. And he saw her with that other man and he was upset because he didn't want her to be with anybody else. And she probably rejected him saying, hey, you know, I have a boyfriend, we can talk or whatever, but I'm not romantically, you know, attracted to you because I already have somebody. And I think he wasn't willing to accept that, but was trying to make it seem like, oh, we could just be friends. But why did she get in the car with him and tell him to kidnap her again? That's the part I don't understand. That text message don't make sense to me. Have he kidnapped her before and she thought this was a game or something? I don't know, but that's just odd to me, right?
Now Keon King is charged with murder, abuse of corpse, tampering with evidence, and firearms violations, among others. Keon King's alleged...
He's charged with abuse of corpse. So I wonder what exactly did he do to the corpse? Did he dismember her or what? Because it's like abuse of corpse means an unlawful treatment of a human corpse. The term refers to an unlawful treatment of a human corpse. Legally, it involves actions such as disinterring, disturbing, damaging, dissecting, or treating a corpse in an offensive manner without legal authority. For example, if a person knowingly disinter or conceal a corpse, such as mutilating or destroying a corpse, also constitutes abuse. So I wonder if he mutilated her body, if he did further, because there was a hammer. They confiscated firearms from his house and a hammer. There must have been some type of evidence on that hammer for the officers to feel the need to seize it as a form of evidence. So my opinion is he might have used that hammer on her, which makes it even more sadder. Like, why does she deserve all this? Oh my God. And guys, what I heard about Philadelphia, and I don't know, let me know in the chat. Some people have told me, the people who live over there, that a lot of the women are harassed and stalked over there. That's a common issue in Philadelphia. And they said that a lot of the women don't feel safe because they're constantly being harassed. But let's look at this also. It says the legal concept of abuse of corpse typically involves specific components. The object of the crime universally includes a corpse, but can also extend to a portion of a human body or cremated remains, such as ashes in many districts. A common element is that the act must be committed without legal authority. This distinguishes criminal behavior from actions by medical professionals, funeral directors, and so forth. So like if they change or mutilate or enter, destroy, disfiguring, if they disfigure, mutilation, dismembering, damaging the remains, intentionally cutting, or otherwise altering a body without authorization falls under this category. Also, here's another issue with another thing with abuse of corpse. This can be distinct from medical, such as sexual acts with human remains. So if they commit a sexual act to the human remains, known as necrophilia, are explicitly prohibited and carrying severe legal consequences. Statutes are also criminalize the unlawful disinterment or disturbance of a corpse from its burial place, as well as concealment of human remains. So the mere bearing of her body could have been abuse of corpse. That also, you know what I mean? So that's even more deranged what this man had done to her. And it's like, what could she have done in 7 days to make this man so enraged? He obviously has some sick mental health issues for real.
Criminal conspiracy began just before midnight on October 3rd, when court records say he stole a Hyundai Accent left unattended and running by a food delivery worker on the 6600 block of Sprague. Investigators say he used that stolen car to meet up with KADA Scott the following night. Charging documents say Scott and King made plans to meet up, with the final exchange between the two being, quote, CM when you hear. CM is short for call me. 6 minutes later at 10:15 p.m., investigators say the two appeared to be together near Scott's place of employment, based on cell phone data. It'd be the last time Scott would be seen alive. At 10:24 p.m., KADA Scott's phone goes offline. At 10:28.
And this is crazy because look, he picks her up at 10:15, 10:24, her phone goes dead. So she hadn't even been alive for 20 minutes as they claim. She was deceased less than 15 minutes later after he picked her up. So it's like he immediately picked her up. shot her to death, and then left her body there to bleed out in the car until the next day when he and another person came and buried her body. That is just crazy. This man is a psycho.
8 p.m., the Hyundai Accent parks at the Aubrey Recreation Center, and the vehicle remains there for 2.5 days. Using cell phone technology, investigators tracked King to this house on the 5500 block of Belmar Terrace. A search of the house turned up contractor bags, a hammer, and ammunition, among other items, according to the complaint. 2 women who lived there were detained and interviewed but released. King was not at the house. The criminal complaint says King's cell phone was tracked taking multiple trips between the Belmar Terrace home and the area where Scott's body was found. At 11:39 p.m. on October 5th, one day after Scott's disappearance, court records say King's registered Toyota Camry was caught on surveillance returning and parking at the recreation center next door to where Scott's body was found. It says 2 people exited the vehicle and 4 out. It was caught on surveillance 11:39 p.m. on October 5th. One day after Scott's disappearance, court records say King's registered Toyota Camry was caught on surveillance returning and parking at the recreation center next door to where Scott's body was found. It says 2 people exited the vehicle, and 4 hours later, 2 individuals appear to take a large object consistent with the body out of the Hyundai Accent. And so far, no accomplice.
Wow, this is so disturbing. A lot of the stuff was repeated, but can you believe it, man? Somebody would be that dumb to help this man out instead of reporting what he did. And what makes it even more sad is she's murdered, and this is not right when you hear about who she was. She's murdered and then left in that car for a whole day to just be decay. That's sad, all by herself.
Have been charged. We reached out to King's attorney, but so far have not heard back. I'm live in East Mount Airy. Chad.
All right, so the reason why I wanted to share that one with you is just that particular video highlights the cause of death, that she was shot to death. So we know that sad situation. Oh, gosh, I hope he gets the death penalty. You know what? That's what I'm wondering too. I hope he didn't do anything to her body. Like, this is just crazy. Because she was there a whole night before, and she had been he had been making multiple trips back and forth to that location the night before her body was buried. So he could have been doing things to her body that whole different time. He's making those several trips. Who knows what he was doing to her, you know? So it's just sick to even like speculate at this point. But let's move on to like talk a little bit about who KADA was. So I found her social media, and I really wanted to give her justice because I feel like we really didn't get to know who she was. KADA was an inspirational young lady, and she really stood out in who she was. She was a woman of many masterpieces, and this is very true. If you go to her LinkedIn, let's see if you can see it. Okay, you can. If we go to her LinkedIn, you can see that she had multiple businesses. Actually, I can't show you. I have to show you on a separate screen here before we get to her Instagram. If I clicked on her LinkedIn, so if you look at her LinkedIn here, she had many different businesses. So she had a K Couture Fitness, which we'll go and look at. She had a K Couture Beauty business. She also had fashion line. She had her own nonprofit, and she had a different fashion show she did that she had models come and they modeled in different shows for her at one of her universities that she graduated from, Philadelphia University. She had various models come and model her different fashion lines. She also was starting a YouTube channel, which I will show you that she only had one video on there that I'll show you like a day in her life. Business inquiries, and she also did art. This girl was multi-talented. We're going to go over all those, but first I want to show you her Instagram first so we can just find out who she was, because I feel like, you know, we need to tell her story, and if we're going to tell her story, we need to tell the full story. So this is her Instagram, her main Instagram, because like I told you, she has multiple social medias. As you can see, this girl is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. She has a sense of fashion. She stood out in a crowd where she went. She also had a cute little dog that she loved. She seemed to, a lot of times when she went out, she seemed to be during the day by herself. She had friends, but she kind of, to me, seemed to be kind of a loner. If you look at her YouTube channel, I'll show you what I mean. She was a great cook as well. She could cook. I tell you, she was very much into eating healthy. And I'll show you a video of that on her YouTube channel. That she ate very healthy, so she would teach people how to eat, how to exercise, all that. This girl was that it girl. She wasn't just. I feel like the nursing home was kind of like her steady income, but she had bigger dreams, and she wanted to inspire other people around her to pursue their dreams. But look at, you notice she didn't get much likes on her videos, as you can see, because she really seemed to me to be somewhat of a loner. Like, she had people in her life, but I felt like she didn't really trust people. She did wear a promise ring. She wasn't engaged, but she valued herself. She would buy herself flowers, which I'll show you on her YouTube, to like show self-care. So she really loved to care for herself. And she made this promise ring, or she bought this promise ring that she wore on her finger as a way to value herself and remind herself of her worth, of who she was. So that shows the classy, sweet lady she was. You can see here, this is a school she went to, her university. She really liked to be glamorous, and she kind of was like the bougie type of girl. She's showing one of her events. This is the promise ring I wanted to show you. A lot of people got confused because they're like, oh, she's engaged. She was not engaged, but she did wear this ring to remind herself of her worth. And that makes sense because she was very close with her father. She loved very fancy eating, elaborate, kind of fancy lifestyle. She went to very fancy places. This was actually from her fashion show that she did. You can see this is also another beautiful venue here that she went to. This was from May of this year, May 22nd, that she went to this very fancy venue. Again, you can see her sense of style that envied her. And then she also drew a lot of attention from men because of her unique beauty and because of just who she was. But I think what really made her a target is because she would be seen walking around the neighborhood alone a lot. And she stood out. I mean, she would be very beautiful walking around, by herself with her dog. And that made her stand out. A lot of people at the liquor stores and stuff like that would look at her. And I think that's how Keon, came about to see her, because he would frequent that area to sell marijuana. There was an area over there, was like a store that was known where they would do a lot of transactions, if you know what I mean. And I think that's where they basically discovered her. But look at this particular video is of one of her fashion shows. She says right here, University Park 2025. This just happened. New York, Tokyo, London. 3 cities, 3 stories, 1 runway. Thank you, Penn State and NABA PSU. This was Penn State where she went to school, for letting me bring New York, Tokyo, and London to life through K Couture. Grateful for every stitch, every model, every moment that made this a vision a reality. Photographer, and this is a photographer. So as you can see, this was not just some random woman. She had her own clothing line, and she was able to put on a fashion show, guys, where she had people modeling her clothes. And this girl was that girl. This was May 4th when she had this fashion show. She stood in the audience where her models, they did various displays of her designs. So this girl was amazing. And this is exactly why you could see men would be obsessed with her and women would be jealous. Sorry. Look at, she had elaborate, very lavish lifestyle. This is her having the valet driver. In University Park 2024, she did a wearable art collection. This is her clothing line. She was coming to the fashion show, which she produced, where she had her models modeling her various fashion line. And she's thanking these different venues for allowing her to basically display. And this is one of her models. This is one of the outfits that she has designed in her fashion clothing line. You can see this girl was amazing. Imagine she's 23 years old. She's not only into pageants, but she has various businesses at 23 years old, designing fashions, has models. She's putting on fashion shows. Like, this was that girl. She wasn't out here, being scandalous or being inappropriate. She was a classy girl that had dreams. That's what makes this story so sad, is this girl was doing everything right, focused on her life. She was a sweet girl. She had a sweet demeanor about her. And yet she was targeted for the light she exuded. again, these are cool little fashion pieces that she has had her models wear at the fashion show she put on. That is pretty cool. And she put here, she said, thank you, Penn State and NABA PSU for allowing me to explore wearable art and for giving me the space to grow as a designer and storyteller. You can see that where she's talking about how she's a designer and she's a storyteller. Very talented girl who wasn't, harming anybody, just trying to, pursue her dream. She put, my very first Penn State runway, the moment that turned a dream into a reality. Thank you, Penn State and NABA at PSU, for giving me a stage to share my vision and for believing in my creativity for the very start. This will forever be the collection that started it all. And this was another fashion show she did in 2023. But she posted this February 1st, 2024. So she had been posting about her fashion shows for 3 years, guys, that she's had a fashion line for 3 years. And 2023 was her first collection. Then she did a 2024 collection. Then she had a 2025 collection here. So this was 2025. So for 3 years, she had been, building her fashion line. She had regular fashion shows. This girl was phenomenal. And then she put, this rebrand will be curated by God. And she was a woman of God, very spiritual. She was not out here, just acting a fool. She was doing her thing, minding her business, not getting into, wrong crowds, or she just was trying to pursue various dreams that she had. And that's what makes this story so sad, because it feels like she had a lot of jealousy around her. This is her modeling in a fashion show. One of her fashion pieces. Again, she did a lot of modeling as well. She did it all, guys. This girl was that girl. This was February 13, 2023, one of her fashion modeling here. So this was her original Instagram. Now I want to go to her various other Instagrams to show you, the various businesses and endeavors that she has. So she had a couture fitness that I want to show you. So let's go to that couture fitness. So this is her second Instagram. This is her couture fitness. So she wanted to help young ladies get into health and wellness and show them like everything from eating healthy to exercise. This is her going to the grocery store and picking out healthy produce. She says, smart women shop smart. This person, who took this picture a day before her disappearance? Oh, yeah. So she posted this October 3rd, y'all, before she was unalived. Oh, my God. These are people posting stuff later on when they found her Instagram. They said she never knew that was her last day alive. That's sad. This is her last day when she was alive. No. This girl was inspiring, y'all. Like, she really was that girl. Look, this says she had to tell the boyfriend who was harassing her or what she was going through. You telling me the boyfriend don't have nothing to say? Yeah, that is kind of suspicious, But anyways, this is her the day before she was killed. She's like posting here about healthy produce on her fitness page because she's trying to help educate girls about eating healthy, shopping smart. This is her exercise videos. She says exclusivity is earned through the discipline. Welcome to the inner circle. But notice how she didn't have much lights. This girl seemed to me, she was focused, but she was an introvert. I'm not saying she didn't have many friends, but what I noticed is a lot of her things show like she's liking her own posts. Right? This is her original Instagram page. You can see she talks about my business here. She says, my business at Couture Fitness, we're building strength the same way we build empires, brick by brick. Help my collective thrive physically, mentally, and socially isn't just a goal. It's my foundation. K Couture is the empire. K Couture Fitness is the power behind it. So this girl I'm telling y'all, she had goals. She was a multi business owner. Again, talking about like her fitness. And then she wrote here on here, she said, why follow trends when you can set the pace? Girl, she was a leader. She was really standing out. Luxury meets strength. So here again, she talks about the luxury, the gym. I wonder if she was trying, I don't wonder if she owns this gym or she just took pictures of it at the gym. That's another thing I wonder. Another fitness thing she's putting here. She put, I'm the reason. They put little, oh, this person, I wonder if this is her boyfriend right here, y'all. Oh, wait, this was a week ago. Y'all, hold up. I think this is her boyfriend. Is this her boyfriend? I don't know if this is her boyfriend, y'all. But I might go, you know what? This is her boyfriend. So we might go back to, we're going to go to his page too. He was into fitness too, but that was her boyfriend that I just showed you the comment there. This is him. This was the guy she was in a relationship, or I don't know if they were in a relationship, but they were dating. She went on a date with him and he did that contribution, like about her passing away. He does a lot of exercise too. Yep, that's him. That's the guy who did the dedication video that I showed you guys earlier today. So yeah, he was on her page. So I wonder what he has to say. Like, he hasn't really posted on this page. He posted that other contribution, but I wonder, like, did he know about the stalking? He was the one that talked about how sweet she was. Oh wow, he over here. Yeah, so this is the boyfriend. Wow. Okay, so we'll go back to him, but I want to get back to KADA because that's what we're here for. So let me go back to KADA's page. Okay, so we're back to her fitness. So she did exercise on this page. We found that part. She was in, also, I want to tell you, she was into sports. She did this type of physical fitness here. And she just posted this to inspire people. Just start. You can see him posting these. That's not even him. I thought it was him too. It's certainly working out well for you for big growth. So she's trying to like inspire people to be healthy, get into sports. The ball is in my court now. I'm not missing a shot. So here again. But look, you can see on this fitness couture channel that she has here, she talks about exercise in this storyline here, which we already looked at. But she also talks about meal prep. She cooked, as you can see. On her YouTube, she also will show you a video of her cooking and stuff. We're going to look at that video of her cooking. So she was very much into physical health, fashion, and helping girls get fashion. She also had this nonprofit that I'm going to show you where she was inspiring other youth to pursue their dreams as well. So she was a very aspirational young lady. She had many goals and many dreams. And this girl to me was like a very holistic girl because she really worked on her mental health, her physical health, and wanted to use her businesses to help other girls as well. Now she had another Instagram and it was called Couture Beauty. So we'll go look at that one now. Okay, so we're going to look at the next Instagram page. She had a lot of Instagram pages. I was like, this girl has been busy, y'all. She was on it. So she has this other Instagram called K Couture Beauty. And it says coming back soon, health and beauty. So she did spa days for this one. Like this girl, she would do spas. This is some of the clients she had. She said, K Couture, get your daily dose of vitamin C with the anti-aging facial packed with vitamins and antioxidants to fight free radical damage and erase the signs of aging for a more youthful complexion. Recommended for dull and uneven tone and texture. Not recommended for very sensitive skin. Wow, guys, she was doing facials too. Isn't that cool? Like she was doing it all. I'm like, my question is like, what did she not do? She had various clients where she would do facials, filters. She said because filters don't follow you around for life. So she would help these girls get facials. There were clients of hers. You could see the work she did on them. That is amazing. This girl was that girl, like for real. Like she is like phenomenal. She's like a full package. Don't miss out. I have a surprise for you girls. And she like advertising her facial spas that she does. She was teaching girls about their facial health and skincare. This is her spa where she would have her clients come in if they wanted to get their facials. Y'all, this girl was the full package. I feel like the news didn't do her justice because they just said, oh, she works at this nursing home. But no, this girl was doing it all. The nursing home was just a supplemental income for all to help fund and complement all the other businesses that she had. Like I feel like she was a supernatural human being because this girl, she had fun, but she was full of so much success. It says KADA's Beauty Spa. So she had a business called KADA's Beauty Spa, KADA's Fitness. She had it all. I don't think I've ever known any other human being to have all of these businesses. And this was her own venue right here, y'all. So I believe that nursing job was just to help fund, get her other businesses off the ground where she was, doing these different spas for clients, maybe getting the spas, having her businesses weren't making all the income she needed, right? So to supplement her income, she got the nursing job to help her while she was getting all these different businesses afloat. So that's one of her, let's move on to the next business. She had a business, again, she had a fashion line too. So we're going to look at her fashion line. Guys, this girl was the bomb. She was the bomb.com. I don't think I've ever heard of a person that had all this going on at age 23. Okay. She was focused on her business. She wasn't trying to be out here in the streets. She was a very motivational, focused young lady. Okay. So we're moving on to, it says styled by K Couture. This has about 29 followers. I think she just was starting this fashion line. It didn't have any posts yet, but I just wanted to show you. She says she's a stylist, an image architect, my personal lookbook. She was going to put her personal lookbook of the different clients she had, but she hadn't, started getting this up yet. So I just wanted to at least show you that she did have a goal of starting like a stylist, like maybe doing people's makeup, also having them model in her different fashion line. Because she was going to be building this fashion line, but she did have a whole separate Instagram. Y'all, this girl had so many Instagrams. I was like, dang, she was working. I'm like, how'd she have all these Instagrams? But I found another Instagram, y'all. Thank you for your patience. This girl's just amazing, and it is what it is. But it's good to know about who she is. Okay, so this is called the K Couture Takeover. Basically, the K stands for KADA. KADA Couture Takeover. This is her 3 art collections, not art collection, but fashion collections. So it says K Couture is rewriting the rules of street luxury, fresh from the runway, designed by KADA. So KADA has different fashion line. This is some of the little accessories she sold at the fashion line. She did the whole fashion show I told you guys about, but this is where she posted all of her videos for that. This is one of her models. This is one of her fashion outfits that she had one of her models model for. And she basically says, Kawaii meets couture. K Couture took Tokyo in full blown. So she tries to take various fashions from Tokyo, New York, those locations, London, and then she fashions and creates these beautiful, unique fashion trends. And she has her models display that, and she sells these pieces to people, who want to purchase her fashion. She said right here, thank you, Hunzia, for capturing the softness and strength of this moment so effortlessly. You embody the vision perfectly. This girl is 23 years old, you guys, remind you. Look how amazing she is. This look features a crisp colored long sleeve layered beneath a custom K Couture ruffled denim dress, detailed with delicate white bows cascading down the front. A soft statement inspired by Tokyo street style, rooted in the feminine power. This was written by a 23-year-old. This is just amazing. Girl had a college degree. Girl's over here having her models. I'm blown away, guys. I'm speechless. This is another one of her fashion pieces. So she says, London called, so K Couture answered in rich textures and regal energy. This is her brand. She had the K Couture logo here. This girl, can you imagine all the stuff she was doing at 23? How'd she get all this money and do that? The girl had goals, y'all. She was focused, a focused young lady. Wasn't out here, in the street being ratchet. She was trying to build these multiple different venues of business. She was a very unique, successful, aspirational young lady. She thanks this model here. She says, thank you, Sawing, for this look, life grace, and edge. You wore it like royalty. And this is, again, is one of her pieces she had her model wear. Featuring a sleek beret, our signature K Couture top stamped with the iconic red K, which is for KADA, in Royal Street font, a cinched statement corset, and voluminous puffy shorts. This look blends flair with modern rebellion. Wow. I am blown away. I'm blown away. What amazing girl. Like, she got these girls looking amazing. This is her fashion. This is her signature beret with the signature corset and the shirt and shorts. It's the whole outfit was designed by KADA. This is another one of KADA's design pieces. She says, straight from the streets of New York to the runway, customs by K Couture, only for selected few. So she designed this, and this was inspired by New York street fashion, which is so cool, right? She did this little, she designed this little course, like crop top with the cute little small shorts. And this is one of her models again. Her name is Joy. She said, understood the assignment. She said, Joy understood the assignment. Thank you for making this K Couture moment unforgettable. K Couture's red custom set brought bold finish to life, crafted for the girl who commands attention without saying a word. This look features structured detailing, sharp contrast, and a silhouette that moves with power and purpose. Designed with NYC in mind, but made to stand out anywhere. Exclusive, elevated, unapologetic. Wow, guys, this girl was the bomb. This is another one of her fashion pieces. Again, this is inspired by New York fashion that she has seen, and she's crafted these different fashion pieces. This is another one over here in the corner of one of her fashion pieces. She was that girl. She was the bomb. Like, I'm so like impressed. Wow. At 23 years old, guys, she wanted to take over the world. She had so many goals. She was so focused and aspirational and was not, that's what makes this story even more sad, of all the big dreams she had in mind. Like, she wanted to have her fashion influence the world. And that's why this story hits home, because it's like this girl, her whole dreams were wiped out in a matter of 20 minutes simply because of a psychopath who had perverted thoughts in his mind. A new era begins. Tokyo, London, and New York. 3 cities, 3 collections, each crafted with precision, power, and luxury in motion. This isn't just fashion. It's an evolution. A statement only a selected few will experience. Exclusivity is the standard. Access is limited. Stay ready. The future of fashion is unfolding. Wow. And this is that one. We already seen this video before. But yeah, she's just so amazing, guys. Like, so amazing. Such a very inspiring girl that can help so many people. She had a nonprofit. I want to show you that. The nonprofit really was kind of just starting. It didn't have any posts on the page, but I still want to show you it just so we can read the bio part, so we can learn what the nonprofit was about. I think it's right here. Let's see. Oh, here. So this was her nonprofit. It was called K Couture Kids, the Successful Kids. So she mentored kids. It's called Empowering Youth to Dream Early, Think Boldly, and Lead Fully. Life skills, creative expression, mentorship, Philly-based. So she wanted to mentor kids, and she was starting to get this one started. She didn't even get to really develop it. As you can see, she has no post yet. But she was trying to build this mentorship group where she could help empower young kids to dream, to set goals, to be aspirational like she was. She wanted to mentor these kids. She wanted to help them build life skills so that they could be successful in the future, because a lot of them grew up in very, rough backgrounds. And she wanted to help these kids be successful at whatever dreams they wanted. Isn't that amazing? Right. Like, oh my God. Just makes me even more sad when I look at some of the things. Now, I wanted to show you that she was very artistic. So she did painting. She loved to do painting. So here is her art page. It's called K Couture Art. This girl had dreams, y'all. Look at this. This is her painting here.
This is KADA, beautiful picture that she's doing. This is KADA, beautiful picture that she's doing.
So this is one of her little paintings. I don't know what she was trying to get at, but she was getting started. It said art since the sandbox. This is a painting when she was a kid. This is not her as an adult. She's like a little kid here, and she's doing a painting. And her mom was videotaping her painting right here. So that's why she put art since the sandbox. So she's talking about how she was into art since she was a little kid. And she just posted this June 2024. So I wonder how come she never developed this. She posted this February 8th, 2024. This is her right here in modeling. She said, I'm not just here to admire art. I'm here to prepare for the moment when K Couture art claims its space on these walls. You see what she said here? What she was saying is she was envisioning. She had dreams. She was there to envision that one day she was going to be able to present her art collections at this art exhibit here where she was at. And she was there to kind of manifest this in her future that, hey, I'm here because I see one day my arts will be here in this space on these walls. Isn't that so inspiring that this girl dreamed so big, so wide as a 23-year-old, and how her life was just snuffed out of her because of a pervert? A pervert, a sick man with sick desires and sick thoughts. So disgusting, right? So sad. She did like a post about business inquiries, but now, guys, I want to go to her Facebook because I want to show you the video that she did on her Facebook. And this will be wrapping it up. But I wanted to show you this video on her Facebook because this video is really going to show you who KADA was. KADA was kind of known to be a loner. She really didn't seem to hang out a lot. She was so focused on her dreams, and she really wasn't, she didn't have time to play around. She did know how to party. She would go to the club. She did drink alcohol. She did smoke marijuana. She did have a boyfriend. But a lot of times she liked to have her alone time. And you're going to really get to know KADA when we watch this video. It says, starting the summer off right, pool days, buying myself flowers, cooking, binge watching, Sex in the City. One thing I want to tell you is her favorite show was Sex in the City. So she loved watching that. She would sit at home alone and she would cook her favorite healthy meal, like, protein with some spinach, and she'd make spaghetti. And she would watch Sex in the City because she really loved Sex in the City. So let's read this real quick. It says, this was just a year ago that she posted this. She didn't really, and she turned off the comments so nobody got to comment. But anyway, she put, in today's video, I will be showing you how my days have been since I've been pouring into myself lately. Your girl has been making friends, creating memories, and practicing self-love. I hope you all enjoy this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more. Let me know what videos you all would like to see. And I'm sad because she never got to really do anything else. But let's take a look at this video so we can learn who KADA Scott really was.
Computers crash, people die, relationships fall apart. The best we can do is breathe and reboot.
There must have been an angel by my side.
Hi everybody, my name is KADA, and I don't know what type of content I want to do yet. I think I want to do lifestyle, fashion, and girl talks. But this is what I'm wearing for today. This is pretty sundress. And also, I'm pairing it with these pretty purple glasses. Other one, but this is so pretty. It's my favorite one. This is a size 8, and it's kind of loose. So yeah, but I'm keeping this on. I don't care. But this is my outfit of the day. Really cute, really classy sundress vibe. Summer vibe. I don't know what bag I'm gonna wear with this. But the sun is still out, so I still want to go. So, yeah, I'm going to just take it with me. We're going to figure it out. Okay, guys. So, I decided I'm just going to walk downtown. Downtown walking is about 10 minutes. I hate walking, but I don't want to call it Uber. I've been calling Ubers for the past week, handling business. So I have to be financially responsible. I'm pretty much just going outside to look pretty. I might go to a cafe and just be productive. I do want to make my thumbnails and stuff for YouTube because I'm getting back into YouTube. I want to make my summer plan and my education plan and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna just take out with me. We're gonna see what the day brings us, but I honestly don't even know if I'm gonna make this a daily vlog yet or a weekly vlog, a monthly vlog. I don't know, y'all, but I just want to start being consistent. So just start this journey with me.
Now, mind you guys, when you can see her in these videos, she's taking all these videos by herself. That's why I told you I feel like she's an introvert and a loner, because she has like this tripod where she clips the phone onto, and she's taking all these videos by herself. There's nobody there with her. And, you know, she's like kind of more so into social media. So it doesn't seem to me like she really was the social type. Even Gabby said she didn't really know much about her. So I don't think, I'm not saying she didn't have friends. I'm saying there were times that she liked to spend by herself a lot of times.
Roddy, what's up? We about to go to the club. No, but we about to go to the club soon. This is my outfit of the day. Cute little bow bag, wet t-shirt, black shorts, black heels, jewelry. You already know, bust down ring, French tip on the nose, and necklaces, yeah. And right now we about to we already drunk a little bit. But now we about to leave, honestly, about to go to the club, so yeah. I'm gonna see up here. That ain't how it goes.
Like my honey's blue. Bad bitches, yeah, I keep them by the two. It's a big difference between me and you. I ain't nothing like you with you. I'm on a whole nother level. These bitches is out of the league. You bitches ain't batting like me. You bitches ain't better than me. Bitches don't count, you bitches can't count. I am not the one, 2 or 3.
Sorry, guys, I have to turn the sound off because of copyright. But you can see her. She's out and about with her little fashion. Look, she had a unique little fashion. Looking cute. Let me see if the music is back on. Okay, they still got the music on. But yeah, so she's showing her little fashion. She liked to go to clubs. She did hang out with her friends, but she wasn't like a wild type of girl. She just know how to balance out herself. She worked hard, and then she liked to have a little fun and enjoy herself. And, you know, she's 23, so there's nothing wrong with that, having fun. But I noticed, look, you notice in these videos where she's at the club, she's always by herself. Like, you don't see no one else with her. I'm like, are you going to these clubs by yourself? You say we're about to go to the club, but there's like no friends, nothing. Yeah, there's still the music there. She's taking all the videos by herself. So it's just like very interesting. She knew how to have fun and enjoy herself. But look, no one's there with her. She's taking her own little videos. No one's around. She's just by herself. That can make you a target. Because if there's a man that's stalking you and he sees, look, you're out here by yourself all the time. You're dressed beautifully. That can make you a target because they don't think anyone's out here looking for you or will care about you because it looks like you don't have any social support, if you know what I mean.
I decided to do a picnic. Yeah, nature really get my nerves. I don't really do the bugs stuff. And yeah, like she's trying to do a picnic where it is. Well, where I live, we have this nice area and you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can have a little picnic, you can sightsee, go to the museum, take pictures, see the water, not waterfall, but water fountain. So I decided, I'm okay, like I know there's flowers and stuff over there, so let me see if I can find a rose and take pretty pictures. So that's why I dressed like this today. Yeah, I took a couple cute pictures, but I feel like I could do better, but it's because like it's so windy out here, and my camera is having a hard time focusing. So yeah, but since I look so pretty today, I'm definitely gonna get a good picture for sure. I need a picture that's like the one. Like you know how females we just need like the one picture. So I don't know. I took a couple, but they okay. But these are my nails. A rainbow French tip. Yeah, today's gonna be like a little vlog. I'm gonna just take y'all with me today. So a typical day when it looks nice. I want to have a little picnic, read, eat fruit, watch Sex in the City, Gossip Girl.
Look, if you look at the shadow here, you can see right here. This is where that tripod is, where her phone is. Notice how there's no one there. So this woman is dressed so beautifully. I mean, the girl stands out. You already know she's drop dead gorgeous. And she's going to these beautiful venues by herself. We usually would think like a person like this would have people around taking videos for her stuff. She's by herself doing these modeling, taking the pictures, and no one's there. It's very interesting, to see that because, again, this is what I think why he targeted her, because she would walk around like this beautiful as God knows how, right? And he's seen this all the time. He's a stalker. So he sees this girl looking gorgeous by herself. There's no man, no friends. He thought she was an easy prey. That's why we have to be careful, I'm not blaming her, but I'm saying we as women have to be careful. If we're out and about and we're always by ourselves, look around and look at your surroundings, because people sometimes who are stalkers, who have bad intentions, they'll look around to see, oh, does this person have anybody around? Like that will make you a target in and of itself. I'm not into sunflower, but yeah, I just got these. Last week I had pink as well, but it wasn't this type of flower, and it was a baby pink and hot pink. So this is just all pink. I want to say tulips, but I'm not sure what these are called. But I'm sure it has the name on it, so I'll let you guys know when I get home. And the lady, she came up to me at market. She was like, "You're so pretty." I was like, "Thank you." And she's like, "It's my favorite color." I don't know if you guys can hear her because she has such a sweet, soft voice. She seemed to be very shy and introvert, not recognizing the dangers of society. But she went into the store to buy herself those flowers. Isn't that sweet? Like she bought her flowers, and the lady who sold the flowers said, "Oh, you're so cute," So she really cared about herself. Like she valued who she was, and she seemed to be kind of timid and shy, but recognized who she was, and that's pretty sweet. I don't know, how do any of you guys buy yourself flowers and stuff? That's a sweet gesture to show that she had a lot of self-love, and we all need that as women. We don't need to wait for a man to buy us flowers. You could buy yourself flowers. But notice how, again, in that clip, she's all by herself, again, with nobody around, no friends, no support. So you can see here, she's a cook. She you see she made that yummy spaghetti. A girl knew how to throw down, y'all. And now she's again by herself watching her favorite show, Sex in the City, having alone time. Yeah, she cooked her own meals and stuff. Girl had it going on. She was the full package. And she didn't mind being an introvert and being alone and watching her movies. She didn't need to have people around her all the time.
After all, computers crash, people die, relationships fall apart. The best we can do is breathe and reboot.
There must have been an angel by my side.
So that was really awesome to be able to show you that, guys, to show you who she really was. She wasn't just some girl who worked at a nursing home. No, she had multiple businesses. She was focused. She was ambitious. She had her own clothing line. The description of what she describes herself on her Facebook, let's go here and look at it. She said here that for ambitious, multi-passionate women, she didn't just have one focus. She was focused on teaching women how to be physically healthy, shop healthy, eat, buy healthy produce, fashion, modeling, nonprofits, mentorship of young kids. She was doing it all, guys, basically. And she was starting to start her YouTube channel. She did personal development and productivity, creative and student life, booktuber, and business journey. Living your best life by becoming your best self. So inspiring, very aspirational and optimistic human being. Like, this girl was the full package, the full package. And that's why this story is so tragic the way it is, because no way at all did KADA Scott deserve the tragic demise that happened to her. She did not. She lived a life of goals and purpose, and she wanted to help other people accomplish their dreams and mentor kids. That's why she was so into pageantry, because pageantry is all about volunteering, mentoring other people, and being an inspiration to your community, being a leader. And that's who she was. That's why this is so sad. That's why this story hits home for people, because people realize what a good person she was, what a wonderful person she was. Some people say all of her attributes remind me of myself. I would have been her friend. Oh man, that's so sad. And she's cooking her own meal, right? She was that girl. I'm just like that by myself, trying to thrive in life. Oh, that's beautiful. See, a lot of us can identify with her. I do the same thing she does. Shoot, I'll be doing my own little thing, my videoing, my YouTube, my modeling. So a lot of us identify with her because we see ourselves in her. And by no way does she deserve this. She was kind to everyone, welcoming. And that's why this story is so important, because us as women, we think that we have to be kind to everyone. But we have to, in this society, learn to protect ourselves, learn to be more guarded, especially around men, because men can sometimes appear to be a certain way and they really aren't. And that's what this guy did. He put on this facade that he was this kind person, but she didn't know who he really was. She had just met him a week ago. He seemed to be a kind person, but come to find out he wasn't, because let me let you know, his ex-girlfriend said he was a guy that he would basically trick you. When he first met the ex-girlfriend, he was very charming. She said he was kind. He was doing all these, like, he knows how to put on a show to make it look like he's this charming guy. And a lot of women knew about him. So that's what he would do. He would put on this facade that he was this real kind man, but in reality, y'all, he wasn't. He wasn't. So now he has been charged with murder. It is being said, and I don't know if this is true, there's too many rumors going around. People are saying, y'all, that Keon King's dad is a police officer. Now, I don't know if that's true. That makes his story even more crazy, which is probably why he has this good lawyer. I don't know if that's true. I'll still be trying to figure out if all this stuff is actually true, because they be lying. But yeah, that's basically what I'm going to share with you. I also want to share with you some stuff I learned on Facebook, because Facebook, they have all the information. They got all the tea. So this person on Facebook shared that KADA Scott was recently on a date with her boyfriend, the one we talked about. Keon was jealous. Look at this. He was jealous of her being on the date. Look at that. And started harassing her from different numbers, possibly stalking her. So he knew about her going on the date. He knew she had a boyfriend, and he got jealous about it. And then what is weird is, why does he have a right to be jealous? This girl had a boyfriend before she met him. He approached her. He was obsessed with her. He was asking about who she was to his friend Gabby, who he used to sell marijuana to. Why should she break up with her man to be with him? Like, he had no right to be jealous. So people are saying he was jealous. He started harassing her from different phone numbers, possibly stalking her. He called her the day she went missing. He may have been her weed man, because she smoked weed. I showed you guys the first video of her smoking the weed with her boyfriend. He offered to buy her food for her overnight shift. Look at this, y'all. That makes sense why he called her. Remember, she said, "Oh, kidnap me again." He was like, "Make sure you're up." He probably called her like to say, let me just come by. I'll buy you some food. But turn on that charm he does, because he knows how to be charming when he wants to get what he wants. And then all of a sudden the mask comes off, and then he turns into this monster like he did to her. She's thinking she get in the car to get some lunch or whatever, because he's trying to pursue her. But before that, he confronts her on the phone. This is my theory. Again, it's my theory that he confronted her on the phone about why was she with that man, basically her own boyfriend. And that's why she probably was like, "I can't believe you're bringing this up," because she probably told him, "Hey, I can't be in a relationship with you." He probably was pursuing her. She said, "I'm in a relationship. We could be friends, but, I already have a man." That's probably what she told him. And he didn't want to hear that. So I think the reason he called her that morning, he texted her that morning talking about, this is my theory. This is what people are saying. I think he texted her to say, "Hey, I know you got a late night to work tonight. I'll just bring you some lunch." I think she already established to him before that she had a man, and he probably was like, "Oh, that's cool. I'll just be your friend." You know how some men are. You could tell a man you have a boyfriend, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's cool. Here, take my number down anyway. And then we could just be friends," but they be lying. That's what I think happened. So I think she, being the nice girl, she's very nice. Remember, she doesn't want to make somebody feel rejected. So I think she was like, "Okay, cool. We could be friends, right? I have a boyfriend. We can't be anything more." So I think that day he knew he was going to kill her because she rejected him. That's why I think he was jealous about that, because he stalks her. So he saw this man, the other boyfriend coming around, taking her on dates and stuff. And the day before, he decided to unalive her because of this. I think how he's a peeping Tom? He peeped into the ex-girlfriend's window. I think he peeked into her window when she had her boyfriend over, because he knew exactly where she lived because of Gabby, who exposed where she lived. So let's look at this real quick. So this says, when she went missing, he may have been her weed man. He offered to buy her food for her overnight shift. Police searched Ada Lewis and only found a few items. Family and friends went searching and found more items. They found lip gloss and other things. Someone called in a tip that they found lip gloss, which made cops search again. So the cops weren't doing their job during this whole search thing. People are saying, though, that this man has a police officer as a father. Let me know if y'all think that's confirmed, because I don't know if that's true. That just makes this story even more crazy. But this whole thing about "kidnap me again" don't sound right to me. You know what I'm thinking? He kidnapped her before, and somehow she got away. And I think, how somebody be like, "Hit me again and see what happened." You know what I mean? What if she just put that as "Do it again and watch you get caught up. Don't be trying to kidnap me." I don't know. But that's just really disturbing. Anyways, guys, this is the updates, and that's really all I have for you today. Hi, Dinah. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, Gabby, honestly, I don't think they have anything on Gabby. Honestly, I know a lot of people are blaming her. I don't think she's involved. I think, okay, here's what's going on. In the Black community, there's not a lot of trust in law enforcement. And if you watched part 1 of this video, you could see clips that I showed you where people are upset with the officers. They have confronted the officers. They say that the officers really failed KADA because they didn't really do a thorough job. They were very careless in their searches, and people are really upset. They don't trust the officers in Philadelphia. So, like Gabby said, I don't think Gabby trusted the officers. She was raised in a community where they did not speak to cops. So I don't think she understood what was really going on. And she also didn't trust cops. So I don't think she's involved. I really don't, guys. I think it's somebody else. The reason why I don't think she's involved also is because she did call Keon the next day and was like, hey, that girl's missing, whatever, because she was shocked about it happening. She showed receipts. I showed you guys at the part 1. So I really don't. I know people don't trust her, but I honestly am telling you, I don't think she is. I looked thoroughly into this. Anyways, let's look at, I'm going to show you right here.
Yeah, sad.
I don't give a fuck. I came out my fucking house by myself to come look for this girl. By myself to come look for this girl. I don't fucking know her. Y'all found her. Y'all fucking found her. Y'all bullshit.
The community is all here.
This fucking girl. Oh, this shit not right.
I'm about to leave.
Obviously, I didn't.
They found remains by that school further back.
Yeah, sad.
I don't give a fuck. I came out my fucking house by myself to come look for this girl. By myself to come look for this girl. I don't fucking know her. Y'all found her. Y'all fucking found her. Y'all bullshit.
The community is all here.
This fucking girl. Oh, this shit not right.
I'm about to leave.
You need to be over here.
Working on this case. More hired people working on this case than they ever did when the police officers got killed. We also asked them, when y'all search the school, did y'all search going back there in the woods?
This morning, a heartbreaking development in the search for 23-year-old KADA Scott. After more than 2 weeks of searching, police say a very specific anonymous tip led detectives back to this abandoned elementary school where they uncovered a shallow grave in the woods with remains that they believe to be those of KADA Scott. Now, the medical examiner, of course, is working to confirm the identity, and investigators are in touch with Scott's family. Now, keep in mind, this is the same location where officers say they found her debit card and phone case last week during that search. Meanwhile, attention is back on 21-year-old Keon King, the man already arrested in connection with KADA's disappearance. You see him there. Police say that he was previously charged in another alleged kidnapping back in January. But of course, we know he walked free after posting cash bail. Now, authorities say that King was the last person seen with her, and they believe that she did not leave with him willingly. The suspect is being held on a $2.5 million bail, expected in court for his preliminary hearing next month. All eyes on this and whether he will have additional charges. Of course, authorities are investigating that.
So I wanted to show you that to demonstrate to you how the community felt about the police. The community is very divided with the police. They don't trust the police. And so a lot of them are reluctant to even call the police or rely on them because they feel like the police don't do a good job or thorough job when it comes to Black and brown people. So to me, it makes sense to me why Gabby did not reach out to the police. I know a lot of people are upset with her. And yes, I was upset with her as well for not calling the police about, Keon, but I don't think it was intended to be something malicious. I think she honestly just was not trusting the cops. She just didn't trust them. Just like you could see the community doesn't trust them, how enraged they were, angry, upset with the officers because they feel like, and the officers did really do a poor job in this situation because how did they miss lip gloss and other particles of evidence that the community had to go back and find that the officers missed the first time around? And then the fact that they had the entire police department out here searching for her, plus a canine, plus they had cadets that were in training. They had to stop their training, and all of them had to go to the school and look for this young lady. And none of them found her the first time. They needed the help of the second anonymous tip to come in to tell them the exact location. That is absolutely crazy to me. You mean to tell me, even though there's maggots that are forming at that shallow grave, the canine was not able to smell a deceased body? You mean to tell me all those police and cadets that were there searching, none of them could find the body? That to me shows very careless police work. They even had the FBI involved in this, and even the FBI failed this young lady. So it's really sad. The reason why I say failed, because some people might argue, well, she was already dead 20 minutes after the kidnapping. I feel it still failed because as they missed her body those many days, her body was decaying. So a lot of the evidence that may have been on her, DNA, whatever, is now being compromised by the elements, by bugs, maggots, you name it. It's like it's making the evidence weaker. Had they found her sooner, they would have been able to, preserve, even if they had started thoroughly looking for the car and they looked at the video surveillance quickly, they would have been able to find the Hyundai before it was burned. Mind you, Keon did not burn the car until October 7th. So they had many days to find that car, and they didn't even rely on the video surveillance. Like, what were they really doing? That's why, like I said, there's a lack of trust, which is why I really don't blame Gabby too much. I just don't. So let's see what else you guys said. I'll go back and watch this slide, but is it true they found another body? Wow. Yes, that's true, Dinah. I did talk about that sometime in this video. You are correct. They did find another body over there, which is disturbing. And I only heard that in one video. They haven't mentioned that body anymore. So I'm not sure if that body is associated with this case.
Her mom, her papa too. I want to thank the doctor, the hospital.
But I showed you guys this video at the beginning, and I wanted to show you again for those people who missed it. That's her boyfriend. So she was in a relationship, which is why I think Keon was angry and upset, because he was obsessed with this girl. He had been watching her walking by herself, looking beautiful. She really stood out. Look how pretty she was in the YouTube. She really stood out, and he knew she had a man, and he was not accepting that. And so I think he was jealous. This video also shows that she smokes marijuana, which again could relate to the fact that he might have been, he might have came and approached her and told her, hey, I sell marijuana if you'd like to buy from me. So maybe that's probably also why she associated with him, maybe to purchase from him. So this video, to me, I feel it gives us a lot of evidence that we can put together to cover this. But yeah, let's see what Lamu says. I think she was trying to say, test me and watch what happens. That's exactly what I think. That's why I think he unalived her, because he knew that he couldn't get away with it. He knew that if he kidnapped her this time, she was going to report him to the police. And remember, he threatened to unalive his girlfriend back in January of 2025 when she was going to go to the police. She called the police about him kidnapping her and strangling her. And he told her if she proceeded with the charges, he was going to kill her. So KADA, she said, I'm going to tell the police if you kidnap me. She probably was in a car saying, if you kidnap me, I'm going to the police. And so he knew he had to kill her so that she wouldn't tell the officers. So I do agree with you. It didn't make sense to me at first, but I feel like that is exactly what it is. I don't think Gabby's involved, y'all. I really don't. All right, guys, but I love you guys. I will continue to cover this case. This case is a very, very sad story. I do want to thank you guys for participating. Round of applause. You guys were amazing participating in this. It really does help the live when everybody's involved and giving their opinions. So I really do appreciate all of the comments and the back and forth. That's what helps the live go well. So thank you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you can, please share this story. We need to get this story out so we can share with other young girls out there. Be careful. Don't be too kind to men. Don't trust men right off the bat. Some men can be very charming. I'm not saying being like a hermit, but just be careful. Be guarded. Be guarded. It's okay to be nice, but not to men. You have to be guarded, which is what I learned, because especially men you just meet, because you really don't know who these people are. And also do background checks. All right, guys, like, comment, and subscribe.